Good evening, everyone. I'm Bimoli, not the muscly. Your car advisor or consultant. Actually, I was like the Proton salesman before, and this is my first podcast. I have already wanted to start a podcast since quite like 1 year ago, but I have never did that. But since I have seen this project in the Toastmasters pathway, I do think that I should start to have challenge myself to start with something new. And this, of course, I may have 4 to 5 sessions of the podcast, and yes, I will mostly talk about car for this playlist and talk about my current car, Proton Inspira 2010 1.8 manual. And yes, before I talk about my car, it was mentioned that the Proton, I was working in the Proton sales center when it was COVID time because I couldn't find a job. And selling Proton cars is also still challenging at that time because we often need to promote the things online and then engage with the customer differently, of course. And I'm not a good salesperson at that time to give good discounts, good service, and having the connections to introduce to me. Barely surviving, but yes, it's still a good learning experience to know so much about cars and comparison between the Proton cars with the other Perodua or the non-national like the Honda, Toyota cars. And for what the most exciting about Proton, I believe, is only with the manual transmission. Because of course their manual transmission cars are more reliable, and then yes, CVT is boring, sluggish, and yeah, sometimes delay and problematics, some of the people would say. In my opinion, I would say sluggish, yes. Problematic a little because I faced an issue before for my Proton Saga FLX 2015. It was my brother's car. I will maybe try to elaborate more in another episode. But for this, I will purely speak of my Proton Inspira because okay, when I was working in this Proton sales center, I didn't really know Proton Inspira. I just tried to sell the current models, and before that, I don't even know what is like the 1300cc, the 190 horsepower, or the 150 horsepower, 177 horsepower. I do not have any imaginary visions on what does those figures sounds like or looks like in the driving feelings or the accelerations. But after I have started to test drive the units, definitely the difference between the X50 and the Saga is a lot different, right? Because 1.3 with 90 horsepower and the flagship X50 with 177 horsepower, and it is with turbo. Definitely the acceleration is more intensive. X seconds you may reach 100 km per hour. Of course, until today I would not like consider X50 or the X series because I know that the maintenance will not be cheap. Okay, let's talk about my Proton Inspira, and it actually happened like 2 years ago when I was like sold off my Suzuki Jimny. That will also probably another episode of my previous cars. Okay, so after I sold off my Suzuki Jimny 2013, also a manual car, actually quite engaging too. Yes, I'm a actually not like a super manual lover lah, but definitely manual transmission cars are more engaging, and then definitely you can have, you are in control lah, because your left leg is working most of the times. And as you in Klang Valley, if you are facing the traffic jam, your legs will is facing the cramp, muscle is bigger. But yes, speak back to the Proton, the manual transmission are quite good things, because it is mostly using the Getrag, if I'm not mistaken. After that, it was changing to the iShin. But I remember last time they mentioned only the BLM and the Previa got this Getrag manual transmission, and then afterward, I'm not so sure if they changed to iShin or what. But I remember if my previous colleague, 2019 Iris, the manual version was the Getrag one. This one I'm unsure of it, but for both transmission, I mean iSyn or the Getrag one, both are quite reliable, definitely. And why would I choose Proton Inspira? Actually, when I saw off my XF4, I saw off my Suzuki Jimny, I was like thinking, okay, what kind of the car I wanted to have. By that time, my brother is already having a XX4 crossover, 2010. That car is, very good to drive, and then quite a decent car. Good space in the driver's seats, and very engaging to drive as an auto. But it doesn't have the manual in its natural form, the original form. So I was like trying to look for a car that is having such threats. So I was looking at that time Satriano, maybe the Picanto, manual transmission, definitely. And then Iris. Then I saw, Inspira, I didn't know this car before, and it's quite rare in the road. I was like, what is this car? How come got this thing I never know? Then I start to dig into this car specific background. I just get to know that, okay, it was a Mitsubishi Lancer rebadge. I was okay. And I just get to know that a lot of the people just convert to the Lancer looks or the Evo looks by changing the bumpers and peel off the logos. That's why it seems like, there are a lot of Lancer on the road, but less Inspira. But a lot of them actually illegally on the road using the other badges or the designs of the bumpers. Until today, I still retain the original one. Fortunately, probably the budget is not enough, but yes, it's still a good looking car for me as original state. And before I buy this unit, actually I was having the experience of test drive another 5 units, total 6. This is the 6th car I test drive in total. And 2 years ago, when I was trying to look for this Proton Inspira, it's after I test drive, I've tried to negotiate with the owner. Definitely, this is what we usually do, right, as a direct owner. But there was like 22k, 25k, 26k, 23.5k. But at the end, I didn't deal with them because it's sold off too quickly. Within 2 weeks, they already got the owner. It was sold off so fast, like a hotcakes. I don't know why. Maybe too much demands at that time, because 2 years ago, it was having the SST, and then the new cars are waiting indefinitely long time, and then a lot of people are looking cars in the used car, and also definitely bump up a little bit of the prices. At the end, the 6th car is almost what I will give up. I mean, if this unit test drive, I fail to get the final offer from the owner, I might probably consider already the XX4 sedan 2008 2010. It's just a sedan version of my brother's car, but yeah. Luckily, I got this unit, and then I final the bid at 24,000 with the seats already covered with leathers, with the Pioneer touchscreen head units, wired Apple CarPlay, yes. And what kind of the things that he changed? Oh yeah, he changed to open port and the 18-inch original lesser GT rim. So these are the changes he provided for me. And then the outlook was with the R3 changes lah. The R3 bumper, the spoiler, and the rear spoiler. So a little makeup. I didn't know. I heard like it was like only cost like 500 to have these cosmetic changes. Not much, but yes, it's still an upgrade from the other original variants. I still appreciate those upgrades because until today I still enjoying those features like the reverse camera with the players, and then the leather seats. It's easier to clean, definitely. Then for the power, like I mentioned just now, I didn't really care about the acceleration. It's just that I'm quite in fond of the outlook of this car. I will look back in the car many times. Every time I drive, even after 2 years, I still look back at my car every day with a smile. That's why I would say you have to pick a car like this. The car that you will look back every day or after every time you come down from your car. This is the car you should buy. And with the horsepower 140 and 177 Newton meter torque at 4,000 RPM, it can accelerate from 0 to 100 in 10 seconds. According to the figures, I didn't really test it. But yes, I would say it's engaging and fun to have this drive. Definitely a lot of the noises are coming out from the exhaust. I believe it was the exhaust also got some modifications. Although it's not a strike pipe, but it's the 421 extractor and with the bigger outlet. Then I'm not sure how big it is, but the sound is quite noisy. I do not really like it, but converting to original, it still costs some other fortune, so I didn't really go for it. For me, it's enough to use for daily drive, and then there's still every day I still having some fun revving up, and then sometimes I can spirit driving to the speed 5,000 RPM. It's very, very fun. And then consider on the high rev RPM, the MyVac machine is very good to hear. It's just fantastic. It's like VTEC. I'm not sure what is that called, but VTEC, Honda VTEC. I have heard once the engine sounds like beast. It's more than 7,000 RPM. And then the sound is so amazing that you will really enjoy those accelerations. It sounds like, the car is so much engaging and then in love with you. You're so near with it. The hand touching another hand. Some things like that is very unforgettable for the Honda VTEC. Red hat engine. I think that was the V16A or B. If not mistaken, is having the red line at 9,000 RPM. Really good engine. And for my WAC, definitely our red line is at 6,500. But yes, most of the time if you went over 4,000, it's already quite fun to hear with. And for 5,000 RPM, definitely still good to hear, right? And with this 1,800cc displacement, definitely you will enjoy from it the most. And to be continued from here, and I hope you all enjoy tonight.